Hello world, so today we're going to be taking a look at the CR10 Smart Pro. So it's going to be one of two videos. The first video is going to be the unboxing the build, and the second video is going to be going through the features, installing the slicer, looking at the cloud app. So do stay with us for that. So as soon as you open the box, first thing I've seen is two little leaflets. The first one is a warm tip guide on what temperatures you should be using with different filaments, and the other one is about the G code in the slicer. We'll get to that one later, so I'm not too worried about that now. I'm super excited for this printer, so big shout out to Creality for sending this over for review. Absolutely can't wait to get this built and see what it can do. Really nicely packaged, so I love the way Creality do package it, and they've included stickers. I love stickers. You can't beat stickers unless it comes with a little packet of Haribo. So again, a really nice glossy manual, and this is the parts all laid out. So I've taken it all out of the box, just so you can see the parts. Little smart camera. I'm really excited about this. We've got obviously the power lead, the main chassis of the printer, support rods, instruction manual, and again the manual is really nicely laid out, step-by-step guide. Now this is the contents. Okay, now if you're missing the tools, they are in the drawer. Now I genuinely wasn't sure about this. I didn't even know this had a drawer, so clearly hadn't done my research, but this is a really nice little feature. On all my other printers I've had to print some sort of storage device, which is cool and exciting to do, but that's just a really nice little feature that I love. And some really nice little clips. I love my snips, you know, the little blue snips, but these are actually a lot better quality. Do like these. You've got some nozzles and some tools, so that's really cool. So just getting everything ready here for the install. So this is the first step. You're going to need a washer. So these are the M5 by 45 screws, and you're going to need the M5 large flat gasket washers. Okay, and what we're going to do with this is we're actually going to, the first step is to attach the gantry frame onto the base frame, and you are probably going to need a little bit of additional help for this. So what I would recommend doing is getting a pair of helping hands, but I mean you could do it on your own if you're just careful and you just rest it on its side. It's whatever you can manage really. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gantry frame off. I'm going to turn the base frame on its side, and I'm going to put the screws through just to make it a little bit easier to line up. So that's 1 through, 2 through. Okay, and they go through really easily, nothing to worry there, but the lining up could be a little bit tricky, and this thing is weighty. It does weigh quite a bit, so just be aware of that. So I've got a pair of helping hands just to give me a bit of help. So I'm just going to line that up. And there's 2 holes on the underside of the gantry frame, and you just want to get those screws through. And actually, I don't think you do. Don't think you do need the washers for this bit. In fact, you don't. To disregard what I said, you do not need the washers for this bit. Okay, so then just using the Allen key for this. Okay, make sure you're using the right Allen key, and make sure you don't thread your heads of the screws. Okay, just go slow, don't over tighten. It needs to be tight, but obviously if you go too tight you are going to just shred the heads of the Allen bolts, the M5 screws, and that's something you do not want to do. Okay, so that's one side done, and then you've literally just got to repeat it for the other side. I found this side a little bit trickier actually. It hadn't quite lined up properly, so I struggled a little bit to get that done, and I actually had to take the, you see here I'm just struggling a little bit, so I just had to take the screws back out slightly just so I could line it up properly. There are a lot of cables on the gantry frame, so do be careful, you don't want to break any of those cables, because then you'd have to strip the whole thing down and do some repair work, and that's not what you want to do. So do take your time, do be extra careful. And again, just tightening these up, not over tightening them. You don't, seriously, the amount of times I have in the past actually over tightened one of these screws, and they're not high quality material, so it's really easy just to shred them, and then you've got a world of pain on your hands. Okay, so that's all done. Okay, I'm just checking that the bed moves okay and that the wires are out of the way, and we're not going to get any issues with that. We're then going to put the support rods, the pull rods on, and you should have 2 of these. Okay, so this gives it an extra bit of stability. Okay, stops vibration and wobble, which is always useful. Okay, so with this you are going to need the M512s, the M520 screws, and then the M5 large flat gasket washers. The gasket washers go at the bottom, okay, and they go with the M520s, and the M512s go at the top. Okay, so you just basically screw these in. You might need to tweak the bit at the top just to get it to line up with the hole. Okay, and then at the end of the build you're going to want to tighten everything up just to make sure it's all secure. Okay, now these rods do help to stabilize, okay, and stop wobble, and you know, it will make sure that your prints are a lot better. So just tightening those up. Okay, so the next part is to attach the nozzle kit. Now the problem I had was the M3x6 hexagonal round head screws were not in the box. I couldn't find them anywhere. I've searched the entire packaging. Luckily I had some spare ones with some different washers that I could use. So I think this was maybe just a quality control issue from Creality, maybe, or maybe they've come out during transit. I don't really know, but they definitely weren't in the box, which was frustrating. But like I said, I did have spares. So this was the M3 by 6 hexagonal round head screws. Okay, so they weren't in the box. The print head just slots in quite nicely. It's really easy to attach. It just clips on, and then you secure it with the three M3 screws. And I've just put washers on mine because the screws I had were a little bit too long. So by putting the washer on, it compensated for that. You shouldn't have this issue. Hopefully your 3 screws are in the box with no issues. So we're now going on to mount the spool holder. So the spool holder just clips over and clips on, and you can see the filament run out sensor just gets connected on there, and you can switch the sides if you want. We then attach the screen. The screen again is super simple to attach. We're just going to take off this black sticky tape. Now I'm not keeping any of the tape for any time I take off tape, if it needs a little bit of tape to hold wires or cables in place. So I connected this up. It only goes in one way. Just take your time and be careful. Don't have the printer powered on when you do this, and it just literally slots on and just pushes into place. Give it a little push and that will be on there without any issues. I'm really looking forward to testing this printer out. You know, the screen, touch sensitive screen. Okay, so we're now doing the cable run. So we need to run this cable up and through, and to be honest, they're really easy to connect up. They're all labeled. Just follow the little guides that you've got so as you can connect all the stepper motors up. And then the cable, there's a clip at the back that just pulls off, and it's actually used for guiding the cable and keeping it out of the way, so that just sort of clips in. Okay, and then you can just clip that back on. You might have to play about with this to get it where you want to get it long enough to reach the print head. Okay, so the print kit. Okay, and then with these, I'm gonna just loosen one of the Allen screws on that and open it up. And then there's two little clips that you have to undo. I didn't actually spot these straight away, so there's me trying to put it in, not realizing that there's two little clips. I pulled one back, I didn't spot the other one. Okay, there's actually two. Again, I'm struggling, and then I realized there was two. Okay, so then just pop that in, pop it down. As you pop it down, it should auto clip and close. If it doesn't, see, it's not quite in properly. You can see I'm messed that up. So there we go. That's in properly. Make sure they clip close, and then you can tighten up that little bracket for the ribbon cable that holds the ribbon cable in place, and pop the Allen screw back in. So obviously I'm filming this, but this is about a 10-15 minute build. So the only reason it's taking me a bit longer is obviously stopping and starting. We're now going to take this, the black tape off here and connect up the last few cables. And again, you can't really make a mistake here. They all sort of fit together, and just follow the instructions, you know, just hook them up. These are the ones you might want to cable tie or tape out of the way, because that build, obviously you can see the build plate will move back and forth over those cables. So either use the black tape that came with it just to tape some of the cables out of the way to maybe to the gantry frame, or to the base. And again, there's some on the other side. I'm probably going to play about with a little bit of electrical tape to tape these down, or I will use for the other side that I've just done, I will use a cable tie just to tie those out the way. We're then going to put the spool holder, I don't know what you want to call this really, spool holder turny thing. What's the name for it? Well, it's the spool, isn't it? So put the spool in and we're ready to go. So we're going to plug it in and power it up. So there's a main power switch on the back, put that to on, and then push, it's a push and hold. Push and hold the silver button on the side, and hopefully, yeah, there we go. We got some power going on. Love the light on the top. The light on the top is an amazing feature. It's controlled by a button on the actual machine at the top next to the light. You can turn it on and off within the settings, but I wouldn't recommend that because then you can't turn it on and off by the button. So we're going to get it ready, and we're going to obviously check it's all working properly. So we're going to go to settings, level, and then auto level. Now, when I did this and I started it, it started to probe okay, but I then got an error, and I've left this in so as you can actually see what happens. So the homing starts as it should, everything seems fine. The print head will then move down to the build plate and start probing. So it moves across the center, gets ready to move down on the Z axis, which it's what it's supposed to do. So we can see that's moving down now. It's way dusty, jeez. Literally only been out of the box 10 minutes. So you can see it's all moving down, no problems here. It says it's leveling. And then it gets to the bottom, and it's probed the center, and it's coming over to the side, and here we go. So it's going to probe the first corner, and it probes, and then I get an error. So it's now stopped probing. The error I got was 203 probing failed, and I was like, oh no, what's happening? Is the probe faulty or something? And I couldn't find much on the error 203, so I tried it again. Thought it might just be an initial issue. and again run through the process, and I was like, no, it happened again. So but I managed to fix it, and what it was the actual bed was too low. So I did bring the bed up slightly, and actually there's a little section in the instructions that says to move the nozzle, adjust the platform by turning the knob underneath the thickness of the A3 paper and all this. So this was purely my error. This was an error on my part for not doing it correctly. See, there it is again. Again, I've adjusted the screws, raised that bed up a little bit, and then when I've homed it this time, see, I've moved this up, made it higher, made sure they're all sort of level, and had no issues at all. Now it probes every point. It takes a bit of time. It's a little bit slower than my CR10, and I'm guessing that's just the way the firmware has been configured on this one. And I think it's probing a few extra points than what I set on my CR10 firmware. But now it works fine, it's leveled, and we can start to look at our first print and getting the Z offset set. So we're almost there, we're almost ready to do a print. So let's go and check out what we do next. Okay, so we're almost ready. We need to preheat our nozzle. So to be able to load the filament, we need to preheat the nozzle so as it goes through without any issues. So to do that, what we're going to do is we just need to go to ready, and then manual, and then preheat PLA. And I'll be honest, if we go home now, you can see here that the actual nozzle is now heating. So it's at its target temp is 200. It's actually at 40, gone to 54, and that's getting hotter, and so is the bed. So this is now preheating, so we can start to feed our filament through. So we put our filament through the runout sensor. That goes through super easy compared to my CR10 V2 runout sensor. And then we need to load it into the nozzle. So you can see there's a little button there. You just push the button back and then feed the filament in, and then you'll see it come out the bottom. I'm going to take off the SD card sticker, and it says which way up the SD card should go, so pay attention to that. Okay, I'm going to put the SD card in that it came with, which is in the little drawer, which I absolutely love, and it goes in up this way, so pay attention to that. Slide it in and push, and then I'm going to go to print. I'm going to have a look and see what files are on here. So there's a few different files on here. I'm going to go for the 1 hour 42 print probably, which I'm actually not sure. There's a 2 hour 16. We could do that one, but I will go back and do the 1 hour 42, I think, because I just want to get something printed and have a look and see what we've got. There's no display of what the actual item is. Little bit disappointing. I don't know if that's something that will show up with different prints later on. Maybe I'll have to test that on the Prusa Mini. Obviously you get the little display. So again, it's probing, leveling the bed, and then it will start to print. Now they say that one of the main selling points of this printer is obviously the perfect first layer, but again, with all things, it's all down to the user as well. If you haven't got that bed at the right height, and if you haven't got some idea of what that first layer should look like, it's still not going to be a perfect first layer. So let's have a look and see how we achieve that. Okay, so it's starting to print. It's about ready to start its thing, and start extruding and beginning our print. So this is where we need to adjust the Z offset. So I'm going to see what happens to start with, and you can see here I'm going to just click the Z offset and click Z offset compensate, and that gives us the up and down for it. So just looking at this, just having a look to see what we've got so far, it's a bit hard to see. But straight away I can see that isn't close enough. It's sort of pulling off the bed, not quite what I'm after. So we'll try and get in and have a look. You can see here that it's not sticking very well and probably needs to be lowered. So I'm going to lower that offset. I have to say it's quite a large sort of print head, so print head kit, so it's a little bit tricky to see what's going on. But you can see there I have lowered it a little bit. I've just pushed the down button on the offset and it's brought it down a bit. So look, just doing that, bringing it down, and you can see that's a bit better. And then playing around with it, I've managed to get it to what I think is an okay first layer. And we can see here it's still not it's not perfect by any means yet, but again, that is the user, not the technology. So you can see I've just been tweaking it as I've gone, and then here's the finished print. I've just let it run, first print off the machine, and actually it's not too bad. Pops straight off the bed, and we can look at that first layer. Actually, it came out all right. That's not too shabby. There's a couple of bits on the bottom that I just need to tweak that Z offset. And I haven't used any A4 paper at all on this. But yeah, look, I mean, that's actually not too bad. That's quite a nice little finish. Nice little bowl. And overall, I'm pretty happy. I'm really impressed with that. I think that's actually a pretty cool print. You can see in there, just on the right hand side, just where it's just needs a little bit of a tweak. Okay, so that's it. That's the unboxing and build. I hope you found some of this useful, and even if it just helps you with one or two bits you're stuck on, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. And yeah, the next video in this sort of little series will be the CR10 Smart Pro features. I'll go over all the features, show you how to install the Creality slicing software. We'll get it hooked up to the network, and then we'll have a look at the cloud app for being able to print anywhere. So really excited about this. I really love this printer. I genuinely like it. I think the design of it's good. I think, you know, it's got loads of cool features. It's got the auto bed leveling. We've got the direct feed for the filament. So yeah, a really nice printer. Let me know what you think in the comments, and stay tuned for the next video.